Welcome back. In this episode we are going to be taking a look at Burnt Tiger's Eye. It's a sister paint to the Tiger's Eye paint that we saw in the last episode, and Daniel Smith says about this paint as: this beautiful stone has been calcinated to change the iron oxide from cool to warm in hue. The result is striking and the granulating effect enhanced. While the Tiger's Eye Genuine is cool olive drab, Burnt Tiger's Eye Genuine is warm reddish brown. In landscapes, it is an excellent natural looking complement to greens. It's also great for creating rich, warm flesh tones. Burnt Tiger's Eye is classified as Series 2, excellent in light fastness, transparent, low staining, and granulating. Welcome back, the paints have dried and this is Burnt Tiger's Eye. First impression, I don't hate it as much as the Tiger's Eye. This is fine, this is great. It's definitely a less sickly colour. I think that's what I was struggling with the Tiger's Eye. It's quite sickly colour, whereas this is just a burnt umber colour that granulates, and I can totally appreciate how that will be useful. So let's take a look at the hue first, and here's all the other colours we're looking at in this season. This is a Burnt Tiger's Eye painted from wet paint, and this is a Cyclerite, and looking at these two, they are quite similar. This is a little bit more greeny, a little bit more yellowy, and this is a bit more warm. But they are quite similar, so I would say maybe one or the other on your palette. You certainly don't need both. And here are other colours from Daniel Smith that I have. It's interesting because when I'm looking at just the swatch, I'm like, that is clearly a very brown colour. But when I put other brown colours next to it, I'm like, oh, it's actually a quite neutralised greyish brown rather than these reddy brown colours. So I don't have a Daniel Smith colour that is quite similar to the Burnt Tiger's Eye in hue. Let's look at other brands. This is Holbein. Not really. This is also a Holbein. The Van Dyke Brown again is similar in hue to the Burnt Tiger's Eye. I think this is closer to this than the Tiger's Eye did. I would say the Van Dyke Brown is the lighter tone coming through, and then the sepia by Holbein is the granulation, the darker granulation coming through. In terms of schminke, I don't think I have a colour that is similar in hue to the Burnt Tiger's Eye. So as you can see, the Burnt Tiger's Eye is a unique paint in terms of hue and the granulation. There are a couple of colours that are similar in hue, but the granulation makes it a little bit more unique. In terms of gradation, it gradates really well. The mass tone stays here, the warm brown color stays with the mass tone, and then the darker grayish granulation comes out through the middle, and then you get just the lightest touch of the warm brown again here. On other papers, it's behaved pretty similarly to the Tiger's Eye. And if you want to take a good look at this test sheet and the Tiger's Eye and all my other test sheets, I have a high-res scan of every sheet up on my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Oto Kano. So when you check out those high-res scans, you'll see that the burnt Tiger's Eye on different paper behaves quite similarly to the Tiger's Eye in this striping effect that the Tiger's Eye did, which is not surprising because it's basically the same stone, just one is the normal version and the other's been more oxidized. In terms of opacity, it's transparent, lifting, it's easy, glazing, wouldn't recommend it, kind of similar to the Tiger's Eye again. In terms of gauzing, well, I have to say this is a much prettier result than the Tiger's Eye did. Making this season where we look at the more browns and neutral colors of the Primatek range, it has a lot more pigment and then the burnt version of it happening, and it's really interesting to see how having been burnt or been oxidized changes the behavior of the pigment, because this is completely different from how the Tiger's Eye behaved. In terms of soft, it doesn't do much, and in terms of wet in wet, I think this is definitely nicer than the Tiger's Eye did. This is just a soft, subtle spreading a little bit rather than the contrasted, shall we say, version that happened with the Tiger's Eye. In terms of color mixes, when you mix it with non-granulating colors, it adds the subtle dark gray granulation to the colors, and you can really see that in the cadmium yellow light, and you definitely see it in all the colors of this subtle grey granulation. So if that is a thing that you're looking for, a subtle grey granulation, I think this is a good color mixing color, because it just mutes the color a little bit and then adds that light grey granulation happening. So what do I think of this color? I can definitely see that technically speaking, this is a useful color. You don't get many burnt umber colors that are granulating, so if you are looking for that, definitely go for it. If you're also looking to add this grey granulation to your colors, then it's a great color as well. In terms of would I put this on my palette, I might put it in my landscape palette, because I totally see the usefulness of a burnt umber color that is granulating. So what do you think of this color? Do you like this color? If so, do let me know in the comments down below. And if you already use this in your painting practice, then do let us know your favorite way of using this color. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!